stand by for further instructions.
Things were going good in Wishwell. Until they weren't. After infection started spreading, the Eaters became known as Subject 118. Why? That's the test that took a shit. Dr. Church, head scientist at the Wishwell Military Research Center, disappeared after the outbreak, and the military has been looking for him ever since. Word has it, there's a massive bounty on his head. With the current state of things in Wishwell, it's important you know how to fight.
A ceasefire is to be called by staff or players if someone is injured or loses their eye protection. All players must have the following equipment: Airsoft gun, Eye Pro, Face Pro, Red Dead Rag, White Dead Rag, Red Dead Light, Tactical Light, Buffer Weapon, and a Speed Loader. Please note that this game is mid-cap magazines only. Staff and RPS have the final say. No arguing.
This game will include airsoft replicas, as well as melee boffer weapons. Since there is a 10-foot minimum engagement distance where boffer weapons are required, each player needs a boffer weapon and a ranged weapon. Here are the weapon classifications that are allowed in Wishwell.
Class A,
semi-automatic rifle or bolt-action sniper rifle, boffer weapon that is 0 to 24 inches long.
Class B,
a pump-action shotgun where your boffer weapon is 0 to 40 inches long.
Class C,
semi-automatic pistol where the boffer weapon can be any size you wish.
ranged weapons.
Our survival RPG games are semi-automatic only, no exceptions. Spring and electric weapons must chronograph at 1.55 joules or under with .20 BBs. HPA gas and CO2 must chronograph at 1.55 joules or under with .30. We will only allow pump-action shotguns.
Sniper rifles.
Must be bolt-action. Spring sniper rifles, 2.32 joules or under with .20s. HPA or gas snipers, 2.32 joules with .30s. There is a 100-foot minimum engagement for sniper rifles, and the sniper must break the plane of the window or door on the first floor before shooting out. A sniper must also carry a pistol as a sidearm. Anyone can carry a sidearm, however, your primary weapon will choose your weapon class. Any weapons that do not chronograph below safety limits will not be allowed on the field, no exceptions. If you are caught tampering with the FPS after you have been chronographed and have not re-chronographed, you will be ejected from the game. All guns are chronoed by our staff using RBBs. Melee boffer weapon construction will be covered in an additional video, but there will be boffers available for sale or rent at the event. Combat in Wishwell is different than most of you are used to.
At Wishwell, ammo is extremely limited.
All players must have a Red Dead Rag, a White Dead Rag, and a Red Dead Light. Hit roll for ranged combat.
Living player. If a living player non-subject 118 is hit anywhere on their person or gear, they are wounded or severely wounded. Arm and leg hits equals wounded. Chest and head hits equals severely wounded. Friendly fire counts. All hits count except for ricochets and gun hits. When you are hitting the gun, call gun hit so your enemy knows they were close. This prevents arguments of players not calling their hits later.
Subject 118s.
If If a subject 118 is hit above the waist, excluding the arms and the head, they are dead. Being hit below the waist, the arms and the head do not count. Make your shots count.
Hit roll for melee combat.
You may not attack the head or below the belt of any player. Keep in mind, accidents happen. Don't identify as a baby.
Living player.
If a living player is hit on the arm or leg with a melee buff or weapon, they will not be able to use that body part until a tourniquet is applied to that body part, or they return to their base. If a living player is hit above the waist but below the neck, excluding the arms, you are considered severely wounded and cannot do anything except call for help or return to your base after your 5-minute bleed out time.
Subject 118s.
If a subject 118 is hit above the waist, excluding the head and arms, from a melee boffer weapon, they are dead. Being hit below the waist does not count. Survival RPG is a game of honor. Do not call opposing players out. Call your own hits.
Being wounded.
When hit in this game, you are either wounded or severely wounded. You may not use a wounded body part as a shield. Note, the subject 118s do not get wounded, only severely wounded. After you are severely wounded, yell hit or bitten and pull out the appropriate dead rag. Or if it's nighttime, turn on the appropriate dead light and make sure it's visible.
For living players.
If you are severely wounded by another living player, you would remain where hit with your red dead rag or red dead light out and wait to be healed by tourniquet or looted by the enemy. After 5 minutes of not being healed or looted, you may choose to go back to your base for respawn. If tagged, bitten by a subject 118, while waiting, you would pull out your white dead rag, hand the subject 118 a brain token, and begin the slow walk back to your base for respawn. This is the main way the subject 118s score their points. There is a cure to the bite. If a living player gives you the cure before you return to your base, you will receive a replacement brain token. A severely wounded living player that has not been bitten must remain where hit, and another player may simulate dragging the wounded player to a safe area by grabbing their arm and pulling them. You may not drag players that have been bitten. If a living player is already severely wounded, waiting to be healed, and it has not yet been 5 minutes, they can still be tagged by a subject 118. That forces you to make the slow walk back to base and give up a brain token. If a living player is wounded and not bitten, and no one can get to you to heal, and you decide to go to respawn, you must go the entire way back and cannot be healed by anyone on your travels. Returning to your base because you are bitten will require a 10-minute wait until you can re-enter play. If you are severely wounded at your faction base, you just have to wait 5 minutes before re-entry.
Severely wounded subject 118.
A severely wounded subject 118 can return to base for immediate respawn or wait where they were severely wounded for 5 minutes and can re-enter action.
Dead men tell no tales.
If you are severely wounded, you may not communicate with any player in play. That includes on the radio. The only thing you are allowed to do is call for help.
Revive rule.
The revive rule is another living player must wrap a medic tourniquet strap on the arm or leg of the severely wounded living player for them to be healed. If the living player was just hit on the arm or leg from a boffer weapon, ranged weapon, or throwable boffer weapon, then a medic tourniquet can be applied to that body part by another living player, or you may do so yourself. This will give you back use of the wounded body part. One medic tourniquet strap will be issued at registration for each living player. It is your responsibility to keep it safe. We will not give out extras. If you find a medic tourniquet strap while playing, keep it. It's a bonus for you and you may use it for extra life. You may only reissue your medic tourniquet bands by returning to your base or meeting up with a doctor. The doctor may require your services in exchange for theirs.
The cure.
The cure package comes with a syringe and a brain token. You will find this valuable item throughout the game that will cure you if you are bitten by a Subject 118. It's as simple as releasing the contents while touching the arm of the infected. Anyone can administer the cure, even yourself if you were bitten. There will also be a brain token in the cure package that goes to the cured player. Keeping the empty cure package might be a good barter tool with the RPS characters throughout the game. It does not hurt your faction if you are bitten and make the slow walk back to base to be revived, so it might be smart to use the cure for RPS if needed instead. If you use the cure for RPS, you will get to keep the extra brain token. The Subject 118s cannot be cured unless it's part of a mission for your faction to do so.
Grenades.
You must have an upgrade patch to be able to use grenades. In order to kill a player with a grenade, your grenade must discharge. Indoor rule. 15-foot kill radius for indoors. For indoors, you can use hard cover to shield yourself from the blast. Be fair, hard cover is not a net or cardboard box. Outdoor rule. To kill a player outside a building with a grenade, it must discharge BBs and hit the enemy. At Wishwell, coal burning smoke is allowed, but may not be used in buildings of any kind. Red smoke may not be used since it will be used by game staff only. Now let's talk about tokens, cards, coins, and patches. Living players will be collecting items that are needed to survive. These items will be in the form of patches. There will be food, water, ammo, medical, and upgrade patches, as well as key cards. Water patch is a primary survival item. It is common to find. The food patch is also common to find. The ammo patch can be traded for actual ammo and is rare to find. The medical patch could be used for mission objective, to trade, or for more med tourniquet bands, very hard to find. The upgrade patch, used if there is an in-game item that you have to be skilled to use. For example, not everyone can disarm a bomb, use grenades, or use night vision. The upgrade patch can be stored at your base and is worth big points. Some specific missions will say a player with an upgrade patch is needed to perform a task or complete a mission. These patches are very rare to find.
Key card patches.
Certain buildings will have a color square next to the door. This means you cannot enter that building without a key card that matches that color. Simply attach the key card patch to the matching color on the patch panel, then you can enter that building through that door. You may exit the building through any door you like. Players can steal a key if you leave it on the patch panel. They are very rare to find.
Faction patches.
Your faction patch will be given to you at event registration. This represents who you are fighting for. If another player takes your faction patch, it is worth big points for their faction. All survival item patches are the property of Otherworld Productions and are not for you to keep. They must be returned at the end of the event.
Transporting survival items.
Each player will need to have room on their kit for 4 patches. 4 is the max survival items you can carry at a time, unless otherwise stated. Your faction patch has to be worn but does not take up one of those 4 slots. If you do not have or want to wear a kit to transport patches, we will have armbands available.
Banking survival items.
Each faction will have a storage crate, aka patch wall, at their base to put these supplies. Each kind of patch is worth different points when you store them. You may remove patches from your bank at any time to use in the game. However, once you do, you risk the chance of them being taken. Other factions cannot take patches from your storage crate, only from players themselves. If your survival items are not on your patch board 30 minutes prior to the game end, they will not count.
Stealing survival items, key cards, and faction patches.
If a living player is severely wounded by another living player, and that player is still in play and can get to you, they can take a survival patch of their choice as long as they have room for it. Remember, 4 items max. If they do not have room for it, they can switch one of theirs for one of yours. If they cannot get to you in the 3-minute wait time, and you decide to go back to your base, they can no longer steal from you. You would not give your faction patch unless it's your last patch. Faction patch is worth big points for your enemies. If you are a Subject 118 and you tag a living player and that player no longer has brain tokens, they must give you a survival item of the tagged player's choice. The Subject 118 can now wear the survival patch collected and bank it at their base. If the Subject 118 gets killed before returning to their base, a living player can collect it as long as they have room for it. If you would happen to lose your faction patch to a Subject 118 or a living player, and that player has not yet returned it to their base, there is a chance you could get it back from them. You do not need to go through all the survivor items on their kit to get your faction patch back. You may never take the faction patch of a Subject 118. If you are bitten by a Subject 118 before the 3 minutes are up, you would not have to give a survival item because you would now be giving a brain token to the Subject 118 instead. A key card patch does not count as one of your survival items. But keep in mind, if you are killed by another player, they can take the key card. Each living player will start the game with 5 brain tokens. If you are infected by a Subject 118 in any way, you would give them a brain token. If you no longer have brain tokens, you will give up a survival item to the Subject 118. There are ways in the game that you might get more brain tokens, and you are allowed to share with your faction if you choose to do so. Survival items, gold, and other items found may also be used to barter with RPS or other factions when their services might be needed to complete a mission or you just need some other gear. Wishwell is a story-driven game, and the RPS are going to stay in character. So if you help them, they will help you. You may find gold and silver coins throughout this game. Some RPS may require gold for their help. The Night Sky faction will only help if they're getting paid.
Cards and poker chips.
You may find or be awarded exclusive poker cards and or poker chips in the game. We recommend keeping them for personal use. Best poker hand at the end of the game gets you a 3rd level up patch. Collecting all 4 poker chips may have a secret. First one to find the secret will be rewarded. These items have no point value for the game, but you may keep them as a keepsake.
Faction missions.
You will have 8 faction missions that are faction specific. Faction missions have to be completed in order. You must complete your faction missions for a chance to win the game. If your faction missions are not completed, then all points from missions and survival patches mean nothing. Absolutely nothing. Subject 118s will not have missions. However, they can steal your flag from your base. If they steal all 4 faction flags, that's big points for the Subject 118s. So protect your base.
Bonus missions.
Bonus missions will be found hidden throughout the field, either randomly hidden or from an RPS. Each bonus mission will be worth anywhere from 50 to 250 points. The RPS you do the mission for will record your faction points for your bonus missions.
Props.
If you get severely wounded by a living player or bitten by a Subject 118, you have to drop any prop you are holding until you are healed or cured. If you are wounded, you do not have to drop the prop, but make sure you are not carrying it with your wounded body part. Props are mission specific. So if you see a prop, you cannot touch it unless you are on mission to do so.
Fence.
We will be using caution fencing as a prop in the game. You may not walk through or over this fence after it has been set up. You may not cut or rip the fence unless you are on a mission to do so. The fence will be used by factions to protect their bases.
Bases.
Each faction will have a base. Your base is where you would go to respawn, regroup, and bank survival patches. We will have a patch wall at all living player bases. You can visit other factions' bases, but keep in mind, it might not be pleasant. If you have any questions, please direct it to our staff. Thank you all for coming. I will see you next year if you survive, and as always, call your hits.